Yo, guys. So I've got a few deck profiles that I'm gonna get through. This is gonna be the first of a couple that I'm gonna be shooting out over the next week. So this is Draco Magicians, and this is what I was originally playing pre-Magnificent Mavens. So I've changed up the build a bit, but I still think this deck is okay. I don't think it's necessarily as good as a lot of the other decks in the format, unfortunately, just because of Tira Shizu. But it does have a lot of advantages. So I'll go through the build quickly. So we start off with the DRACOSLAYER. So we're playing one Master Pendulum. It's a low scale, and his effect is quite good for triggering your Purple Poison and for triggering your Ignista. Then we play three of the Revolution. Revolution is just another copy of your other DRACOSLAYERs for the most part. He's also nice as Monster Reborn, one of the best cards in this deck because it's not a once per turn, so you can just keep using them over and over again. And then we play three Luster Pendulum as well, just a really, really good card. Obviously, he's going to trigger your Purple Poison, which is nice. He's going to trigger your Ignis. And what the new kind of playstyle of this deck is a bit more mid-range. It's really about abusing those nice DRACOSLAYER scale effects, and then after all of that nonsense going into your Pendulums. What I do find about this deck is that it's really good going second, surprisingly enough, because what you're going to find a lot of the time is you're going to be able to trigger your Purple Poison or trigger your Ignis Phoenix or whatever and do a lot of shenanigans to your opponent, and then after that get your Beyond the Pendulum effects off, and it's just so good. Now, I've gone back and forth with this. Sometimes I feel like this card doesn't need to be there because there are a couple of situations where it feels a bit too slow. But in general, the raise and ceiling and the ability to do things like revive Ignis to prominence usually offsets the disadvantage of that. But yeah, so those are kind of the DRACOSLAYER ratios. Then moving on from there, we have the 3 Ignis, 3 Dynamite, 3 Majesty. They're all amazing cards. So Majesty is your searcher. She's really, really good. She searches in scale. She can search for a DRACOSLAYER, and then on field when she summons, she can search any field spell, which is why I play Secret Village. As for the field spell, it really depends. I think Secret Village is better right now. While Necro Valley is nice against a Shizu tier, what Secret Village allows you to do, because you can make Dweller so easily in this deck, and that also beats a Shizu tier, I think it makes more sense, and I had a discussion with a friend about this, to make Secret Village with Dweller and the Spellcaster, as opposed to making Necro Valley plus Negates. Because Necro Valley, they get one pop and they out it. Whereas Secret Village and Dweller, they can't out the Dweller, that's going to be screwing them over, and then Secret Village also stops generic things like Dark Ruler No More and cards like that are just annoying, and Super Poly and all of that. So I do like Secret Village as the field spell you search out with this, but you don't necessarily have to play it. Dynamite, really, really good card, especially when you factor in Dynamis Charge. It's just nice for his free summon, which is quite good. And then also the fact that he adds cards just maintain the hand advantage. Ignis is weird. It's the best but the worst. Its scale effect is pretty much irrelevant, but its destruction effect is great because that floats. However, the reason why I don't like it, obviously, is that he does require another card to be useful. So he's good but not good. These two are good with almost anything. He's only good if you see one of your destructions, which is why we have so many different destruction effects. Then moving on, so this is another change as well. Had a discussion with my mate, and I think he was right. Having Purple Poison at 3. So firstly, this means harmonizing is pretty much never a brick, and you could actually go down to 2 harmonizing, as that's 9 times out of 10 what you want to actually search if you don't already have it. But the nice thing about Purple Poison is because she just, I don't know if Purple Poison is a man or woman, whatever. But the nice thing about Purple Poison is that it outs so many things that are problems to you. So in scale, for example, you can normal summon a harmonizing or normal summon Skullcrabrat and beat over something with this. Its effect to pop can out a lot of floodgates and things like that. Also, if, for example, its effect is negated and its destruction effect is negated in extra deck, it will go to the graveyard and trigger again, because it's not even once per turn. So, I mean, it's just really, really good. Outs a lot of threats. I think this is a great card. You actually do want to see this, because in terms of the deck ceiling and combos and stuff, it's not great. But in terms of a card itself and in realistic game scenarios, having that utility is really, really powerful. So Purple Poison is a really good card. You do always want to see it. Harmonizing, obviously. Harmonizing is just synchro plays. And then also, it's just a plus, because obviously it's going to shoot something directly out of the deck, which is going to be your Purple Poison. Then we've got Bunbaku. Bunbaku is an incredible card because it can't be targeted. And the fact that it can't be targeted comes up so much. Against Flunder, it's amazing, because you normal summon it against Flunder, they can't bounce it with Riser. They can't book it, which means it's very, very... And you can special summon it as well. So it becomes very easy to out their barrier statue, for example. On top of that, Bumbaku is level 3, a lot of your monsters are level 4. Beyond the Pendulum has an effect that if 2 different leveled Pendulum monsters are summoned to its zone, then it can pop 2 cards. So Bumbaku allows that to be facilitated, and obviously he's going to chain block that a lot of the time as well. Amazing effect. And then also it searches Majesty Pegasus. That's another thing I'd say that's really strong about the DRACOSLAYERS at the moment. The fact that they can all be searched out with so many cards. You're always going to be seeing combo in this deck, which is really, really great. The problem I had in this deck is more the utility than the combo. But I still think, yeah, Bumbaku, incredible card, play at 3. I think the best hands, in my opinion, are ones where you see Bumbaku and Ignis, because that's full combo and allows you to out some stuff as well with just those 2 cards, which is really great. Then moving on for kind of generic other stuff. So we've got the Astrograph. Astrograph can go, to be honest. It's just a kind of, it raises the ceiling. So a lot of the times, if you have combo and harmonizing already, you want to search out this because it has a nice combo revolution where it can search another revolution, so you get 2 reborns. Astrograph is also nice because what I was doing against Runic Sprite a lot of times, I'd make my board and I would have Secret Village, and then they'll try and out a monster by destroying it. And then do you know what happens? Trigger Astrograph, summon it from the hand, they're still on the Secret Village. So yeah, really, really good card. But it doesn't need to be there. It just occasionally does raise the ceiling of your deck a little bit. Its level would come up if I was to play Baron or something, because then I could play a level 3 tune or something like that, but I don't. But yeah, good monster. Then we got the Fenrir's. Fenrir's just a good card. Because Beyond the Pendulum requires anything generic and a Pendulum monster, Fenrir's good, Bestial's good. I just chose to go with Fenrir's because I actually think Fenrir in this deck is a bit better than Bestial's. And also because while I do like the Bestial's effects in the tier matchup, I'm very scared of talents, and so I just don't really want to activate effects on my opponent's main phases, and that what makes me want to dodge Bestial's. But yeah, Fenrir is a good card. You could play Bestial's instead if you want to. You could play Curtain Raiser, for example, if you wanted to. You could play Dark Worm. I wouldn't play Dark Worm. I tried it. It's not that good. But yeah, this can kind of be switched out. Then moving on to spells and traps. So talents has cracked this format. You just need talents. Everyone is playing in each other's turns. And so because of that, talents has so much value. Rotor searches Ignis, which is amazing. I like having lots of different copies of the same card, if that makes sense. Different versions. So Rotor and Durandal both search Ignis, which is great, but they're different cards, so obviously it means I don't have to play 2 Durandal, which removes the chance of me ever bricking on having more than 1 Durandal, which is nice. Another nice thing about Durandal with all of these as well is that you can do things like equip Durandal to your opponent's monster. So I can equip it to their Sprite Elf, for example, and then use its effects without committing any monsters to the board, which is quite nice. It has a second effect, but you're never really going to use that in this deck. Dynamis Charge is an amazing card, especially going second because its effect to add a Dynamis back to your hand, combined with Dynamite's effects already, means that you maintain really strong hand advantage, and just being a Rotor is quite nice as well. So yeah, really, really good card. It's a little bit annoying that it's a continuous, but it's still a really, really good card. And then we've got, like I said, Secret Village because it just beats every matchup. Power Spells are what does the job. Desires because you don't really care about anything being banished. There's literally no card in your main deck, even Secret Village. And you can usually get out Secret Village very early. But there's no card in your deck that it's like, if you banish it, your game plan completely goes out of the window. You have a lot of combos. You're a bit like kind of Salad, and that's a Salad kind of deck where most of your relevant effects are in the extra deck. And so your main deck doesn't matter that much. So yeah, Secret Village really, really good as well. And then Sky Iris. Sky Iris is mainly Search or Revolution, but to be honest, I keep going back and forth as to whether to have this in the deck. It's not a terrible card, but it just really comes down to the fact that going first is amazing, but I want every card in my deck to be good. Either a win condition. If it's only for going first, it needs to be an instant win condition. This is not. It just slightly raises your ceiling a bit like Astrograph. So both of these could go. Then we go to the extra deck. So really nothing special to say about it. It's just kind of standard DRACOSLAYER extra deck, thanks to kind of Jib and all of these guys for their spreadsheet, because I've definitely had a lot of good tips in that. So Masquerena, my typical end board usually is going to be something along the lines of Dweller, then usually Appaloosa and Magician on board, or it's going to be Dweller plus Dynamite Pilot, Dinos to Power, plus a Magician, plus a Masquerena. Those are the kind of end boards that I'm aiming for. And the goal usually is when they normal summon anything that's a spellcaster, you Masquerena, and then you Underworld Goddess. So you don't even let them have the opportunities, for example, to kind of negate your Unicorn when it comes out or something. No, you just make Underworld Goddess straight away. Now they're still locked onto it, and they use their normal summons. So they need something special to out your board. But yeah, that's why Masquerade is quite good, and that's why Unicorn and Underworld Goddess are there. That's the only reason, just turn 1 combo. And I might attach a video showing how I do that after this. Beyond the Pendulum, it's good. You can play 2. I found that it just never really came up. After turn 1, I've either won or I've lost so decisively with this deck, because you do kind of commit your whole hand to the board. It's hard to retain resources in Pendulums because because of the way the deck works. Every combo is minimum a 2-card combo. Actually, every combo is a minimum probably a 3-card combo or 2.5 because you need your 2 scales, and then sometimes, like in this deck where there's 2-card combos, they'll add more cards to hand, but in general it's 2.5 to 3-card combos are almost every combo. So because you're committing so many resources to the board, usually you win or you lose straight away, and so the second one never really came up for me. Selene is amazing because Shalene just an extender. Appaloosa is good. You don't have to play her, but I do like her just as a generic kind of negate monster. In this deck, sometimes you will be able to make Appaloosa quite early, but usually you're forgoing something else if you do that. So sometimes you Pendulum summon, and then it's like they can nib you there. If they don't nib you there, you make Appaloosa, and then you just make generic negates. Access code for the OTKs, but it's definitely not necessary. You can get away with playing Boral Sword, you can get away with playing... I know what else other than Boral Sword, to be honest, but yeah, you can play Access Code or Boral Sword. This deck makes both quite easily. Dweller, just really good this matchup. Beats Tirashizu, which is good. Doesn't beat that much else, but it beats Tirashizu, which is the main deck to worry about. Magister, Paladin, Ignis to Prominence, and Dynas to Power are just part of different combos with this deck. They're all really good. Magister's nice because obviously it does get you that advantage in the end phase, and usually in the end phase I'm going to be searching a Revolution Dragon so I can just out their board and kill them next turn. But the fact that she can search anything in the end phase is great. Ignister is great being able to shoot it from the deck, and his effect is so good when you combine up Purple Poison, because you're going to pop your own Purple Poison, spin a card of theirs back, Purple Poison is going to trigger, destroy another card they control. It's an insane combo, so really good card. And then Dynas to Power, sometimes I actually really want this card at 2 because his effect does come up. It's quite a nice effect to summon them back from the grave, but for now I'm saying I'm staying at 1. But I think if I was to replace anything in this, it would definitely be the Savage Dragon, which I'll explain why I have that in a second. But yeah, Dynas to Power, really good monster. Then we've got Baguska. The thing about Baguska is Baguska is just for certain matchups. Basically, if you get you do a similar thing to what Tyr does. If you get shifted or something, you just make Baguska and pass. Most decks that will shift at you can't play through Baguska, most, not all. And so you make Baguska pass, and then next turn you try and do something. Titanic is nice, that's kind of your second alternative. You can make rank 8s very nicely in this deck, and again, I'm more afraid of power spells and stuff than anything else. Unfortunately, because he doesn't negate things like Dark Ruler and stuff, Photon Lord occasionally is a bit better. But because I play Appaloosa, I play him. If I didn't play Appaloosa, I'd probably just play Photon Lord for the extra monster negate. And then Savage Dragon. So game 1, I do, my board tends to be Masquerader with a Secret Village, essentially. Masquerader plus generic stuff and Secret Village. After game 1, I know Evenly is going to be coming in, and then Savage becomes more useful. So I'll forgo an Appaloosa, and I'll just make Savage instead, because that can stop things like Evenly Match, which is quite nice. So yeah, definitely has that utility. But if there was anything, I'd say the 2 cards in this extra deck that I could get away with not playing at all would definitely be Savage and Titanic Galaxy. These could be switched. This could be switched for Photon Lord. This could be switched for another Dynas to Power. This could be switched for Zealantis. There's a couple of things. And then the side deck. Look, side deck is definitely leaves a lot to be desired. I'm just really not sure, so I wouldn't copy this at all, this format. I just don't really know what to play is the real answer. So we play 3 Evenly because it's OP. That one's definitely sure. Now, Gamma is specifically to deal with Droll and Shifter. Droll and Shifter are quite painful for you, and so because of that, I only side this in going first games 2 and 3. I wouldn't side this in just going second generically against some decks. Some decks I would like Sprite, but against Tyr, for example, I probably wouldn't side in Gamma because it's not amazing. But yeah, it is very nice for dealing with Shifter, and it is very nice for dealing with Droll. Lava Golem, yeah, you don't really need your normal summon in this deck, so Lava Golem's fine. Nib. So the thing about Nib is it's weird. Nib isn't good against decks like Tyr, but one thing Nib does have, which is nice, is that after you make a board, Nib is nice to hold in your hand as a backup, because a lot of the times to out your board, your opponent has to do weird routes and they can't play around Nib as well. And it's one of the best things in the world where, especially in Pendulums, where it's easy to rebuild your board as long as you have 1 or 2 monsters. You let them combo, you nib the whole board, wipe everything, great. They pass to you, now you have a nib, and then you have something else. You go into your link 2, and then you Pendulum summon, and you're back where you started. So that's kind of where the advantage of nib does come from. And then obviously the Cyclone, just because back row. So yeah, guys, that's my Dracoslayers build. I do think the deck is good. I don't think it's the best deck of the format, but yeah, definitely give it a try. It will be fun to play. And yeah, I'll attach some combos and stuff later in the week so that you guys can see a little bit of the shenanigans I do with this deck. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.